In less than a generation, Dubai is investing over $100 billion in megastructures the world has never seen, not just reaching for the clouds, but re-engineering what a city can be. Towers taller than logic, lagoons that seem to defy gravity, and a 93-kilometer climate-controlled network, all rising from sand, pushing the limits of engineering and imagination. But in a race to transform the future, what are the stakes when reality begins to blur with science fiction? This is how Dubai's $100 billion transformation is rewriting the rules, and it is only getting stranger from here.
Concrete, glass, and gold rise sharply above Dubai's city grid, but even here, ambition finds a new summit. In Business Bay, Burj Binghadi is climbing toward a height of more than 550 meters, set to become the world's tallest branded residential tower. For Binghadi developers, this is more than just another skyscraper. Every meter added is a statement. Dubai will not settle for second place in the global race for skyline dominance. The tower's silhouette draws inspiration from high-end jewelry with sharp geometric crowns and reflective surfaces designed to catch the desert sun. Inside, penthouses and apartments are pitched to a clientele that expects private elevators, 24-hour concierge services, and panoramic views that sweep from the city's old creek to the edge of the Arabian Gulf. The promise is not just a home, but a trophy that sits above the clouds, reserved for those who can afford to see the world from above. Binghadi's marketing leans into the language of records and exclusivity. The tower is not just tall, it is branded as the ultimate address for the elite, a place where height becomes a form of prestige economics. The price of admission is measured not just in millions, but in the right to say you live higher than anyone else. The building's projected cost of $1 billion is less a budget than a signal. Dubai's appetite for spectacle and status knows no ceiling. Construction began in 2021, and as of late 2025, the structure is well underway, targeting handover in 2026. While most cities debate the merits of vertical living, here it is a competition, one that Binghadi developers are determined to win. Each new floor poured is a fresh challenge to rivals, an invitation for global headlines, and a magnet for wealth from across continents. The message is clear. In Dubai, the skyline is not just real estate, it is a leaderboard. But as towers like Burj Binghadi reach ever higher, questions start to form in the shadows below. Who gets to occupy these vertical palaces, and what does it mean for the city's future when luxury and altitude become inseparable? For now, the answer is measured in meters and millions, as Dubai's obsession with records writes itself in steel and glass, one floor at a time. Gravity seems to lose its grip above Sheikh Zayed Road, where Safa 2 rises not just as a tower, but as a challenge to the very idea of what a building can be. Here, architecture refuses to stay grounded. Entire decks of water and greenery appear to float in midair. Sky lagoons suspended dozens of stories above the city, shimmering against the desert sun. This is not an illusion. It is the result of structural daring, where cantilevered platforms stretch far beyond the usual limits, holding up thousands of tons of water and soil as if defying physics itself. The design consortium behind Safa 2 does not just draw blueprints, they rewrite them. Their vision is to create the region's first elevated lagoon decks where residents and guests can swim, stroll, or lounge among palm trees while the city pulses far below. Engineers puzzle over load calculations, waterproofing, and the constant pressure of so much water perched above glass and steel. Every solution pushes the boundaries of what is possible in vertical construction. The effect is otherworldly. Pools appear to spill into the sky, their edges dropping away to reveal panoramic views of towers and highways with no visible means of support. At night, the water glows with hidden lighting, turning each lagoon into a floating oasis above the traffic. The ambition is not just aesthetic. These features force a complete rethink of plumbing, climate control, and emergency systems, demanding innovations at every level. Safa 2's lagoon decks are more than amenities, they are statements. They signal Dubai's willingness to chase spectacle, to suspend entire landscapes in the air and call it home. Architects and structural engineers become disruptors, turning what once seemed impossible into daily reality. Every visitor who steps onto a sky lagoon deck feels the city drop away beneath their feet, a sensation that lingers long after the elevator doors close. In Dubai, even water is asked to rise above the ordinary, and the skyline is no longer just a collection of towers, but a canvas for experiments that leave the rest of the world asking, how far can ambition float? A new kind of city block rises where the desert once pressed against Dubai's edge. Nearly 1 million square meters in footprint, the oasis is less a building than a living landscape, stacked and layered hundreds of meters above the ground. 7 mid-rise towers and 2 super talls gather around a vast central plaza, each structure brimming with tiered gardens, shaded walkways, and water features that spill from terrace to terrace. The plan is not just to build up, but to build in, folding nature, culture, and community into the heart of vertical density. The master planners behind the Oasis, a consortium of architects, engineers, and urban ecologists, approach the project as a kind of experiment. Their challenge is simple and audacious. Can a city's wildest ambitions for green space be lifted into the sky without losing the lushness and variety of a true park? Each tower is designed as a vertical neighborhood with outdoor decks, botanical islands, and winding paths connecting homes, offices, and gathering places. The central plaza becomes a stage for art installations, fashion shows, and concerts, turning the open air between towers into a cultural commons. The experience is meant to be immersive. Residents step from their apartments into groves of trees, cross footbridges above reflecting pools, and linger in shaded alcoves where the air is cooler and the city's noise drops away. Every level offers a new perspective: a pocket garden for morning walks, a terrace for sunset yoga, a rooftop orchard where children can play. The architecture blurs boundaries between inside and out, with glass walls that slide open and terraces that spill seamlessly from living rooms into hanging gardens. Beneath the spectacle, the Oasis is a test of systems as much as style. Water recycling, smart irrigation, and energy-efficient cooling underpin the greenery, while a network of elevators and sky bridges keeps the community connected across towers and heights. The result is a place where density and greenery no longer compete, but coexist, an urban park in the clouds, mapped out in steel, soil, and vision. For those who move through these layered gardens, the city below becomes background, and the idea of what it means to live in Dubai is rewritten, one terrace at a time. Water runs through Therm Dubai like a lifeline, circulating between pools, lagoons, and gardens, stacked 100 meters above Zabil Park. With a projected 1.7 million annual visitors, the demands are relentless. Every thermal bath, misted terrace, and botanical island draws from a closed-loop system engineered to reclaim and reuse nearly 90% of all water on site. The remaining fraction, after filtration and treatment, irrigates 1,700 trees and countless plants woven into the building's terraces and facades. Therm's engineers, drawn from a global roster of specialists in aquatic systems and vertical horticulture, face a puzzle that grows more complex with every new visitor. The challenge is not just keeping pools warm and waterfalls flowing, it is making sure each drop is filtered, recirculated, and returned cleaner than it arrived. Every hour, sensors track temperature, acidity, and microbe levels, triggering automated adjustments and maintenance cycles that run day and night. The building's energy footprint is another test. The resort's budget of $545 million covers not only the construction of stacked islands and panoramic glass, but also the installation of high-efficiency pumps, heat exchangers, and smart lighting. 80% of cooling and ventilation is powered by clean energy sources, with the rest managed through advanced climate systems that balance comfort with conservation. Auditors monitor energy and water use, searching for inefficiencies that could ripple into higher costs or resource strain as the city's population grows. Inside Therm, the promise of wellness is inseparable from the reality of resource management. Each visitor, whether soaking in a mineral pool or walking through a misted garden, becomes part of a larger experiment. Can luxury and ecological restraint coexist at this scale? The answers, for now, are measured in recycled lighters and kilowatt hours saved, but the pressure is mounting. If Dubai's vertical oases are to become models for future cities, their systems must prove resilient not just for a season, but for generations. The lessons learned here will echo far beyond Zabil Park, as the city prepares for even larger demands on its water and energy networks. A 93-kilometer ring is being engineered through Dubai, fully enclosed and climate-controlled, designed so millions can walk or cycle across the city, shielded from the desert's extremes. The loop, envisioned by URB and powered with DEWA, aims to connect over 3 million people to daily life, jobs, schools, and markets without ever stepping into the sun. This is infrastructure at a scale and ambition rarely attempted. To keep the corridor cool and breathable, the system will require tens of megawatts at peak, drawing 60 to 80 gigawatt hours of electricity each year, comparable to the needs of a small city or nearly 200,000 homes. Solar panels line the roof, but even at maximum output, they can only partially offset the grid's burden. Every kilometer brings new technical hurdles. HVAC systems must battle relentless heat, dust, and glare running around the clock. Filters and seals face constant stress from sand and temperature swings, demanding continuous inspection and replacement. Teams of technicians will be on duty day and night, maintaining a delicate balance. Any lapse could turn comfort into suffocation within minutes. Emergency ventilation, backup power, and redundant systems add layers of complexity, making the loop as much a test of operational resilience as engineering ambition. Construction is set for 2026, with completion targeted for 2028, a 2-year sprint to deliver a corridor longer than London's Circle Line. The true challenge is not just building the loop, but sustaining it, hour after hour, against the desert's unyielding pressure. A new coastline is being carved where the open Gulf once met the desert. Palm Jebel Ali, stretching across 13.4 square kilometers, is not just another artificial island, it is a rewriting of geography itself. Dredgers and marine contractors move millions of tons of sand and rock, sculpting a palm-shaped archipelago that will add 110 kilometers of fresh shoreline to Dubai's map. Every curve and frond is engineered with a precision that leaves nothing to chance, from wave breaks designed to resist storms to foundations that anchor entire neighborhoods on reclaimed seabed. The ambition is not limited to hotels and luxury resorts. Plans call for thousands of beachfront villas, waterfront apartments, and a mix of leisure zones, all connected by a network of roads and marinas. Contractors coordinate fleets of barges and cranes, working around the clock to keep pace with a schedule that rivals the world's largest infrastructure projects. The logistics are staggering. Each new kilometer of land must be stabilized, serviced, and protected before the next phase can begin. For the engineers overseeing this expansion, the coastline is a canvas. They consult tide charts and satellite data, manage sediment flows, and adjust designs in real time to shape the palm's intricate outline. The result is a landscape that did not exist a decade ago, an engineered edge where city and sea now meet. Here, the idea of natural borders gives way to human intention, and the limits of what a city can become are measured not by old maps, but by the reach of imagination and machinery. A different kind of ambition is taking root along Dubai's expanding shoreline. Instead of concrete and glass, the target here is 100 million mangrove trees, an effort described as the world's largest coastal regeneration project. URB, the same company behind the loop, is leading the charge, promising to transform 72 kilometers of coast into living green corridors. For environmental technologists and municipal ecologists, this is not just a headline number. Each tree is expected to absorb carbon, buffer tidal surges, and knit new habitats into the engineered edge of the city. The scale is staggering. Planting 100 million trees means orchestrating drones, AI-guided monitoring, and floating nurseries that can adapt to shifting shorelines and brackish water. 6 pilot zones are already in design and research phases, with the first sapling set to anchor the vision. The hope is that these mangroves will not only sequester vast amounts of carbon, but also create jobs, up to 10,000, in ecotourism, restoration, and marine research. Floating accommodations for tourists and scientists are part of the blueprint, as are renewable energy installations and ocean farming facilities. The plan reads like a new kind of coastline economy, blending conservation, tourism, and food production at unheard of scale. Yet the logistics are daunting. Maintaining such a vast living system requires constant vigilance, water quality checks, pest management, and replanting to counter natural losses. Environmental engineers weigh the promise of carbon absorption against the reality of keeping millions of trees thriving in a city built for spectacle. The shoreline becomes a test bed where ecological ambition meets the daily grind of maintenance and adaptation. In Dubai, the race for the future now includes a bet on nature's resilience, scaled to match the city's appetite for the extraordinary. Can nature be engineered at this scale, and will the effort outlast the spectacle? Numbers swirl around Dubai's mega projects, but the true cost remains hidden behind layers of private agreements and limited public disclosure. Municipal finance analysts searching for detailed funding breakdowns encounter a wall of silence. No published ledgers, no open access reports explain how billions are allocated or repaid. The mechanisms that keep the city's construction engines running, such as sovereign wealth infusions, land value swaps, and undisclosed subsidies, are rarely spelled out. For projects like the Loop, there is no public record of long-term operations and maintenance funding, nor any clarity on how future energy and repair costs will be managed. Even annual budgets offer only broad categories with line items for mega projects bundled under infrastructure or urban development, masking the real flow of capital. This absence of transparency leaves outside auditors and residents alike in the dark, raising questions about who carries the risk if visions falter and what debts might linger long after the headlines fade. Urban theorists have long debated whether cities can truly reinvent themselves, or if ambition simply outpaces reality. In Dubai, that question hangs in the air between the shimmering towers and the engineered coastlines. The city's megaprojects promise a new way to live, greener, higher, smarter, but each bold vision arrives with its own uncertainties. Can these engineered oases survive a century of shifting climate and economic tides? Will the energy and water systems that power vertical parks and climate-controlled corridors prove resilient or reveal new vulnerabilities? Around the world, planners and skeptics watch closely, wondering if Dubai is building a blueprint for the future or a monument to what is possible only when limits are ignored. As the city keeps reaching upward and outward, the answer remains unfinished, inviting every visitor, resident, and observer to decide for themselves what kind of future is truly being built here. Right now, over $100 billion is reshaping Dubai in real time, transforming science fiction into urban fact. As these megaprojects redefine what is possible, the world watches for both inspiration and warning. Each new record raises the stakes. Progress or hubris, future or facade, the blueprint for tomorrow's cities is being drawn today, one impossible ambition at a time. What do you think, vision fulfilled or limits ignored?